right, welcome to another edition of Never Scared Podcast, man. We're back with more heat to give you guys out there. Um, been a little long time since the last show. We apologize. We had some situations going on, but we're right back at it, man, with three powerful topics today, man. So unfortunately, we have to come to you guys with something serious today. Things that are happening in the Black neighborhood as well as other uh, background groups and ethnic groups around the country. So we're going to get into what the Black community should feel about the Asian hate and what's going on in this country. We're also going to touch on the Black Latino lieutenant in Virginia and what he went through this past week. And third, we're going to get into the Dante Wright situation that happened recently in Minnesota. At such a young age, I think the young man had a son, and we're going to get into that video as well. And we're going to break that video down and go at it from every angle, you know what I'm saying? And we're just going to talk about it, man. We're going to be ourselves, never scared on here. Even if we bump heads with it, we're going to give y'all what y'all want. We hope y'all giving it real back to us. Make sure, though, before we get started, that you hit that like button down below, that subscribe button, tell your friends, share these videos. That's how we grow, and we appreciate that, man. So, without further ado, before we get started, got my man Christian in the house up here, man. The man Sekou is back here in the house again. And the first lady of the show, Precious James, is back. What's going on?
What's up?
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? All right, man. So
We're
listen.
ready.
Got some serious topics going on. We're gonna start off with this with the Black community, man. How should we feel about what's going on with Asians in this country right now, and what they're going through? Is it karma? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't think of a better word to put that. Or is it something that we should rally around and help them out with? I say these things not because this is what we believe, but this is what I've heard from different people and different opinions. So, a lot of people said, where were Asians when we were in trouble and we needed their help, you know what I'm saying? And now everybody wants it to be all of us when we stood along, when we cried out to the world, when we needed help. So I'm going to start off with Precious. Precious, how do you feel about what's going on
Um,
with this Asian hate in the country right now?
so I personally feel that we should all stand in solidarity. That's fair. Solidarity is fair. People of color or persons of color, rather, because ultimately our plights are mirrored to some degree. I cannot say that I'm going to be the first to run to, social media and or any other type of social media platform to, stop Asian hate, because I've not seen anyone say, all lives matter, or, nobody said anything when it came down to, Asian hate and Black Lives Matter. Nobody jumped out there for us. And I'm not saying like eye for an eye. I'm just saying clearly I don't want to see anybody hurt. I don't think it's anybody's like intent to see someone else hurt. But should we stand in solidarity? Absolutely, because we're all people of color. And again, I mentioned this briefly, in historically marginalized communities, we're going to be um, looked upon as like, oh, they're all people of color, so they must rock with each other. But we don't always see that support from the Asian community, and I'm not saying that that makes them right or wrong. They rock out very, very strongly for their culture, which is why they are economically in a different place than we are as African Americans. They have businesses, they have Chinatown set up in every major city. You can go to a Chinatown and there's nothing there but Asians. So again, I'm not saying that I want to see anybody hurt. We support their culture economically, and they support us how?
I'll wait for that. I don't know. I don't know how. because the first thing that I think about when it comes to just with that situation, and I'm gonna get Chris and Seiko in here, is that right off the bat, you know what I'm saying, all of us can all say that we grew up, obviously, in the neighborhoods that we grew up in. How many people had a Chinese restaurant somewhere near their neighborhood, or a wig shop, or a makeup shop, or businesses that they own? See, first of all, when you're younger, you don't understand that, but when you get older, you're like, so why are so many Asian people allowed to open up businesses in our neighborhoods? And of which, when we go in these stores, I mean, I've seen Black people work at them, but very few. They usually keep it in the family, though. So, and I thought when you brought businesses to Black neighborhoods, that was a way to uplift that neighborhood, employ people, you know what I'm saying, that live there. It was supposed to be like a community thing, but clearly they don't do it that way. And we all know that when it comes to anybody opening up businesses that are not white in white neighborhoods, that's just not going to flow. So that's the first thing I think of. And I'm just like, I always wondered, why are there not more Black people working in these businesses? I never seen a Black man work in a Chinese food shop. Never.
I mean, they do delivery. I mean,
right.
It depends on where you
I
are.
say in the shop.
Beauty supply stores have like the young Black girls who, understand weave.
Not all of them. Not all of
them. Not all of them. Not all of them. But some of them, but the thing about it is they study, they research, they do research on their products so that they are able to help their customers when they come into the store. So they're kind of well-rounded. They don't really need us like that, like for
real. So what I'm gonna challenge you with this, Precious. How can the Asians tell Black women more about Black products and things that you ladies put in your hair, your skin, your face, and things better than you can?
But that's the thing. The product that they're selling to the African American community is not African American hair. That's the thing. So like if we were talking about chemicals and products and things of that nature, you're absolutely right. But nowadays it's a little bit different. They're talking about like weave and all of those like bonding hair and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying in general, they're pretty familiar because everything is made in China and is brought over here. So who better to tell you that? I mean, that's where it was created.
So that was the point I was also getting at too, man. It's just like, the powers that be. I mean, that goes down to everyone downtown in every city, and the officials in every city who decide what's going to be built where. We all know that, like I just said, they're not going to allow you to build them in certain neighborhoods, and we know what neighborhoods those are. But one of the things I've always found weird about a lot of the business that they do with the Black community is it's things that we use, things like our stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm asking this question rhetorically, but how are they able to open up businesses in our neighborhoods faster than we are in our neighborhoods? So we right now we're just coming from the economic point of the situation.
Do you want to know, like, economically, most Asians who come here, let me see how I want to put this. So when an immigrant comes here, most of the times when they come here, they have a thing where they have free tax for about 5 years. They also are allotted like a $50,000 loan off gate, opposed to those brothers who live in the same hood that can't get those same loans, who don't have access to those loans because per se they're not immigrants from here to here. We're supposed to be, citizens here, but in essence, you see like Japanese restaurants. Sometimes you'll see like it'll be named Yokoso. 10 years later, like 5 years later, it'll be Sakaki or something else. and they'll put the restaurant in somebody else's name who has free taxes for 5 years, because they'll get free taxes for 5 years as well, and so they'd be tax exempt, and so they just put it in somebody else's name who just got over here and able to do it that way, and that's how they're able to keep everything in their community. And when you say like they sell items to us, like our own items, and I get what you're saying, but if we stop you, it's really their items. Like, well, that ain't our hair, you know what I'm saying? Like the shit we can buy shit like shea butter from black people. I buy my shea butter from black people. Like the stuff that we really need as our people, we can get it from our people, but we choose to be superficial because we live in this video type world where it's cool to have lashes and weave and all the extra stuff that makes you, I guess, pretty for videos and pretty for Instagram or social media. And so that's where that comes from, in my opinion.
Pause, Chris.
Yeah. Press just went out.
Yeah.
Comcast is horrible.
It's that Comcast, man. She might.
It's got to come off that green screen, bro.
What's up?
Yeah, I'm telling him when she come back up.
But yo, question. We talking some good shit, but like, we seem like we jumping. Like I don't want to. We get to jumping, and
I know it's just coming from the economic, and then we'll jump back in.
No, but I'm saying, all right. I'm saying
I know you're
usually be the next thing. Like
we're about to get it.
The question you ask, we ask that question, and then we go to the next topic of it because we don't want to. We go all day on this shit.
Yeah, you're right.
So if you ask a question, we all go 4 rounds, and with that question, then on to the next topic. How you move it, but
keeps it organized. Yeah, that's a good point. Keep it organized. Hey, Precious, you gotta take that green screen off, baby.
And it's like you got to think too. Like as we're doing it, we all play off each other. Mm-hmm. So if we sit there and you go completely in a whole nother topic, that's what throw you off.
So, you come back another Precious, way. you got the software for your green screen?
No.
That's so.
Yeah, just take the green screen off.
Throw that dirty ass kitchen and stop fucking around.
Yeah. Twan suggested that maybe it's because the software is not connecting correctly. That's maybe
there is no software. The Zoom is, I mean, but that's
what I was saying to you. I mean, it is no software. It's the computer. Just
take the background down for now, because your bandwidth is going to work extra hard to keep that up.
I'm an art dude. I don't know nothing about that technological shit. I cook.
Yeah, that's cool.
I cook. I don't know about the technology.
You look just as fine, without it.
Oh, pretty self, girl.
Are we recording?
Oh, pretty self. Look at your pretty self, girl.
No, because I was gonna say something that was probably not recording.
Hey, yeah, it is recording.
He got to edit anyway. Just say it, baby. Just
go.
Well, it's kind of hard to like go after what Precious just said and so I guess I'll just piggyback off what she said. Is for me personally, it's hard for me to have any type of for lack of better words, any type of emotion or feeling towards any other race being killed, mistreated, disrespected, unwanted, whatever negative word that you can come up with. It's hard for me to even think about any other race until we address what's been going on with Black people in this country. So for me, I think it's just it's a deflection of focus and deflection of the real agenda. And we don't have these conversations. The real conversation is racism towards Black people. So we can sit here and put these pictures up about, we see videos of Black people assaulting Asians, and it's cool. It's cool. You can put videos up of thousands of white dudes assaulting Asians, but it's ironic that strategically they post videos of Black people assaulting Asians. And I mean, for me, I'm kind of amazed how poised and intelligent these white people are as it relates to how they twist the media just to give us perceptionally the image that black people are always going to be the aggressor in any situation, no matter who is the defendant. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like whoever is going to be the individual that's going to be assaulted, the black person did it. And so I'm just amazed at how strategic they are in their plans, because you know they run the media and they post whatever they want us to see. And so for me, I, you know, to stay on topic, it's hard for me to have any type of emotion towards, you know, how many people it was. Is nine Asian people. And listen, no disrespect, anybody losing a life, trust me, I don't want anybody to lose a life. A wrongful death, definitely. That's not what I'm rooting for at all. I mean, I love all people who deserve a chance. But when we're speaking about 9 Asians dying, and we're talking about how many black people dying and how many black people have died, how many black people have sacrificed their lives like unwillingly just for this country, and still how we get treated, and we're trying to compare the Asian mistreatment, I can't do it right now, bro.
So let me speak to that a little bit, Chris, and I absolutely agree. I think the difference in the way that we're treated, not to say like, you know, there's microaggression, and then there's like real live, like this is just straight up like racial bias, right? I feel like the difference though is that Asians, their culture brings a voice to their story, right? Like they bring a voice to their story. They you know, just the fact that they bring like a voice to their story, the perspective or the representative of their culture speaks for them, right? So they you know, granted, they experience these aggressions or microaggressions the same way that we do, but any given day, I can guarantee you that they would rather still be Asian than black. Period. So it's difficult for me to say, well, and as a woman of color, and so this can go super deep, you know, like I have a couple of different strikes against me. I'm a woman of color. I'm a woman. Okay, so we're talking about like marginalized communities right now. We're talking about people who are always kind of thrown to the left to begin with. Asians, they want to be accepted. But they really are still wanting to be to themselves. Like even with their culture, inside of their culture, it's rare to find like, you know, an Asian man married to a black woman. I mean, it's not far-fetched, but it's rare because they keep everything within their culture. They just really want to be accepted. They don't necessarily want to like mix and blend and like kumbaya with us. They just saying accept us and stop beating us up. Stop the Asian hate. Period. They're not saying they want to kumbaya.
I'm gonna let Sekou get in here, and I want to make a statement. Go ahead, Sekou.
We done talked about so much. I don't even know where to start. But to go, all right. So start with the initial question. As far as how should we feel about the Asian hate, or quote unquote Asian hate? I don't feel that we should feel any kind of way, because we've been hated on for a long time. Especially, like I said, I don't know if you're not like I can't speak for everywhere, but like you from like we from New York, and that was everything in your area was owned by them, and they treated us like shit in every one of the spots that it was whether, and we stopped and we kept going there. So whether it be the food market, the laundromat, the like you name it, they owned it all. And ladies, the hair spot, the nail salon, they do it whatever they do, and we keep going back. The nail salons you see recently, they sitting there and you got dudes sitting there smacking up women and all that, and we protest for a hot second, and we right back in there. They do what they want to do to us, and they keep it moving. So it's hard to have any kind of sympathy for them, knowing how they've treated us for shit, I don't know, forever. You know, what's been going on with them, that like, and sadly, and I'm not saying all of them, but most of them, they don't consider this like most everybody, Indians, Hispanics, nobody consider themselves with us. It's blacks, and they consider themselves damn near with whites. All of them. All of them consider themselves with the whites. So they don't look at us that way. Like they look at us in a completely. They look at us how the white supremacists look at us.
Right.
100%. 100%.
So the Adam West say cool is saying is this, and I'm asking y'all a question. It's redundant because y'all all know the answer. So everybody who says that their parents came from another country and they came to this country for a better life, you know what I'm saying? Like we Christians talked about how they're being given money, like they won't even give us reparations, you know what I'm saying? You know, in this country, but everyone, I don't even understand how that works, but everybody's getting money when they come over here, right? But before they leave their country, and the question is, what are all these people being taught before they come over here? Everybody is taught, do not fraternize with black people when you get to that country.
I can't agree with that, because Arabs and Asians are taught that black people make the least but spend the most, and to capitalize on it. That's why you don't see there's no white corner stores.
I'm talking about business. I'm talking about how they interact with us.
Yeah,
they don't want to. Yeah,
they want our money, but they don't want us.
Yeah,
they want our money, but
yeah. I mean, that's almost every race, though. That's every race that does. Every race does that. There's no differential between races.
So it's just like it's this Green Book before everyone leaves. Like y'all, if y'all saw the movie Green Book, you know about Green Book. It was a book that black people used to tell them where to stay at back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So they have no problems. It's like it's this universal Green Book that tells every race that comes here, you do not mess with black people. They're unsuccessful. They're lazy. They're killers. They're dirty. They're nasty, you know what I'm saying? Everyone comes over here with this. I mean, I've seen so many things where I hear people say, you guys aren't what I expected, or my grandparents taught me this. And see, the thing is, the kids can get here and change, but those parents almost never do. And now they're saying, we're all the same people. Let's stop this hate against us. But where were y'all when we were getting shot? See, the one thing I don't like about all of it is now they got this thing like Asians, black, brown, we're all the same people. No, we're not.
No, we're not.
It's black, we're not. Black and brown.
We're nowhere near the same people.
Nobody looks at that.
I'm sorry, but what happens to a lot of other races? They have countries that back them. So when Asians come over here, they're Asian American, and when they get their citizenship. When a person from Ireland comes here, he may be Irish American. He may be Spanish American. He may be from Spain. See, in that way, what happens is that's why when you don't see a lot of crimes against Asians, because you have to you have to address China or you have to address Japan, because you actually kill a motherfucker that come from that actual country. See, black people, when you say African American, none of us came from Africa. We really from right here. We don't have a country backing us to say, okay, so you can really do something to a nigga and ain't nothing gonna happen.
What does that matter? They don't care about us anyway.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the reason you're able to do something to a black person, because we brought you here anyway, and nothing's gonna happen. There's no country backing us. There's no Africa's not saying if you do something to a black person, right? If you do something to a black person here, Africa's not gonna care about that. But if you do something to an Irish person here, Ireland's gonna come see you, bruh, because United Nations, all that shit is tied in.
And so that goes back to what I just said, Chris. Like, other cultures bring a voice with them. They bring a voice into the story, and it flips the perspective in general. Like, you're right. Like, we don't have the same support from Africa, because
politically we don't have it.
We don't.
We don't. But listen, Precious, it's cool that you say that, and I want to go to the video, guys. You know, that we're gonna show you guys before we touch more onto this. But it's so. Like, man,
you stalling out a little bit, Twan. You stalling.
It is. All right. So listen.
Your video stalling.
It gives me. Am I good now?
Nah. Go
Go now,
All right, say something. Say something now.
I'm
All
good
right.
now.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, you good now.
All right. So what I was saying is that, man, what hurts me to the soul right now is that we're talking about all these other people, man. But let's be honest with each other. Intelligent Africans from the continent of Africa, they're told the same thing when they come over
They
here.
are.
They're told the
They are.
same thing.
They
Do
are.
not mess with American black people.
And they treat us as such. You better
Right.
believe it.
So I'm just like,
That's what people ask, like, why they're disconnected with Africans? They know what they're doing.
Let's blame
us-
Jesse Jackson. Blame Jesse Jackson. You know, Jesse Jackson gave us the
Rainbow
term
Coalition.
African Americans. Jesse Jackson came up with that word African American. Blame him.
I'm just saying. I mean, I can't look. I've been an African American before Jesse.
Not before,
like,
not the label, not the label.
I knew.
But we didn't we're not from Africa. We weren't born in Africa.
My father's from Liberia. My mother's I'm not from the United States.
Okay, well, you may be, but the most of the people that are here, their parents were actually born here. They were brought here, so their actual lineage is actually here, like here.
I mean, but we all.
And some people are even indigenous to this land, but that's another story. But what I'm just saying, Jesse coined that term. I think back in like 1987, he coined the term African American, which ultimately set us back, didn't give us any type of backing, and halted us from getting reparations, because now you don't have a country to back you. So, but that's a whole nother conversation as far as the reparations and how we can get reparations and changing the citizenship.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that what he did didn't hurt us or affect us, but
we'll see what. But there are people who have changed their citizenship and who have declared themselves indigenous to this land, which means that their ancestors were from America and able to get actual reparations, just like the Indians. Because
when did they do that?
From here, because you have to change your citizenship and stop saying you're African American. But that's why I said it's a whole nother story. Like you say, cool. We don't want to be all over the place, but we can actually talk about that definitely. Because I mean, I've done a little bit of research on that shit, but we can all talk about that for real. Because you can change your citizenship and be indigenous to this land, like your family be indigenous to this land, and file for reparations, just like the Indians have. And the Indians have gotten money because they actually have a land to back them. Black people don't have a land to back them because we call ourselves black or we call ourselves African Americans. We are not. We either are American. We're the only country that separates. If you go to Spain, you're either Spanish. That's it. You're not black. There's black people in Spain too. You know, there's black Spaniards and there's white Spaniards. You're Spaniard. When you go to Italy, you're Italian. You know, I grew up. My mom was military, and I grew up in Italy. There were black Italians. There's black, look like me. Speak Italian. Don't even speak no English. They're black Italians, but they don't say, "Hey, I'm black. I'm Italian." Only when you come to America, they say, "Hey, you know what? You're black or white. You're really American. You're fucking American." We separate it. That's what happens. But that's, I say, we could talk about that on another.
But even on that, I mean, and I'm not going to touch it too much. I'm just saying, even on that, whether he said it or not at that point, what did they really do? Because what the hell have we been?
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
We ain't been shit since before that. So it's like, what is that really?
I'm talking about, but
that put us back that much, or that changed much, because.
But it changed the agenda as far as them giving us money.
But they wasn't gonna give a shit anyway.
But
Hey,
not give it to us.
We're getting a little off topic. All
right.
Let's go to this video real quick. Check this out, and we're gonna get into this right after this situation right here.
Only getting worse, and some of the accounts are extremely violent.
And when the door opened, he stepped forward and slashed me. Then I put my hand on my face, and then when I look at my hands, there's blood oozing. So I cried for help, and I cried for help, but nobody helped.
NBC News correspondent Vicky Wynn. Vicky,
want you guys
it
to
was
pay
so hard to
close
hear
attention
Mr.
to the
Quintana there
conversation they have between
on the
each other.
subway. We've heard about a 52-year-old woman attacked outside a New York City bakery on Tuesday. A 91-year-old man pushed to the ground in San Francisco last month. These are just horrific stories. What else are you hearing?
Horrific?
Yeah,
Oh
Alex,
my God.
thanks for having me on to talk about this. And thankfully that 91-year-old man is recovering from his injuries. But I think one of the incidents, the most disturbing, that really kicked off the social media outrage and the public outrage was the death of 84-year-old Visha Ratanapakdee. He was the Thai man in San Francisco who had just gotten his COVID-19 vaccine, had just celebrated his birthday, a father, a grandfather, walking on the sidewalk in broad daylight when a surveillance camera captured his attacker crossing the street, shoving him to the ground. He never regained consciousness. So that, I think, awakened a real outrage. And that's what's gotten this conversation started, and rightfully so, because the metrics back it up. Alameda County's DA, that's out in the Bay Area where Oakland is located, where some of these attacks have been happening in their Chinatown. Over a 2-week span, they recorded 18 incidents of anti-Asian racist attacks. You showed the numbers from Stop AAPI Hate, talking about the 2,800 incidents since the pandemic started. That ranges from people being spat upon to being yelled at to the physical violence, even denials of service at businesses. And here's a statistic that really stood out to me. They said that 7% of their accounts involve Asian American victims who are over 60 years old. Imagine that. These are the elderly who are under attack, Allison.
Yeah. It's horrible to think that any Asian person in America is going through this, Vicky, but the older folks, you're right. It's just really heartbreaking. If I understand correctly.
Now, she said it's really hard to believe that any Asian person is going through that in this country, but with a sense that it's okay if Black people are dealing with this, but Asians, no way.
Oh my God, Asians. Bruce Lee boy. Oh my God, you guys are going through adversity. A nigga slapped the shit out of you. It's probably some shit you said out your mouth while you was doing their feet.
We had communities bombed.
Right.
And we talking about somebody that got kicked in the head.
With their help, Sekou. With their help.
All right,
with their help. Communities bombed with their help. Philly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let me continue.
Many of these attacks are going unreported. Why is that in particular?
Yeah, even these numbers, this data that we have that's hopefully prompting some attention and action at the federal level are likely vastly underreported. And part of it is cultural. Look, the Asian American community is super diverse. There are many languages, and in some cases, many language barriers. And also there's a cultural reluctance to kind of draw attention to ourselves or to report these things. So 2 things can happen to change that. 1, our community needs to speak up. The younger generation needs to encourage the older generation. And we're seeing that over Twitter, over Instagram, where there's a new wave of volunteers coming together, offering to patrol the streets to watch out for our elderly, and also to bring attention and to say enough is enough. The second thing that needs to happen is lawmakers.
Are they going to hang around for elderly Black women that get robbed and mugged on the streets, or when they see Black people coming, are they gonna check out for the day and go home? Or if they see some Black person getting robbed, are they going to tell the robber, I'm only protecting Asian people out here today?
Oh, no, they ain't.
So she's not choosing her words carefully at all. So let's listen.
And law enforcement need to recognize that this is happening and address it. In New York, it's been really encouraging. The NYPD started seeing an uptick in these anti-Asian hate incidents last year after the pandemic. They established a task force. It's now permanent. 25 officers speaking 11 different languages. They're reacting to reports of crime, but they're also being proactive. They're going on social media, scouring for incidents that they can investigate. It's that partnership that is so important. And let's take a listen to the co-founder of Stop AAPI Hate about the importance of reporting.
And so I think police and law enforcement need to be sensitive to the spate of racism, to ask questions about what was said during the attack, if it was racially motivated or not, and to pursue it if it was racially motivated. A lot of times,
the shit out his jaw.
If there are hate crimes that are racially motivated, they go underreported, and people continue to get victimized in this way. It's just terrible.
Yeah, well, I encourage all the Asian Americans to speak out.
terrified to send their young ones back to school with concerns of violence.
I mean, this is such a concern across all age levels right now in this community. Stop AAPI Hate did a survey of young people over the summer and found 1 in 4 said they have experienced racist bullying. So these are not just verbal attacks, but they're also physical attacks. Lots of concerns about kids going to and from school and experiencing this in their own classrooms. What can be done to mitigate it? Well, experts say one thing is teach Asian American history, teach the contributions of Asians to this country, that they are a part of the fabric of America. And also,
so she said, teach.
They ain't gonna teach
Asian American history, and we can barely get our history taught.
nothing about our history, but we gonna teach Asian teacher James.
Yeah. So
they want us to teach Asian history. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Let me show you the last 20 seconds of this video.
Hurry.
Now listen. Keep in mind. Hey, look. Keep in mind that most of the crimes, most of the race crimes that are committed in this country are by far by white people, right? But notice how this white journalist in the end doesn't say anything about her people need to talk to each other to stop the violence, because they're mostly the ones that's committing it. And look how she acts like she's feeling heartfelt for this woman at the end. Like, I feel so sorry for you and your community. And what are you guys gonna do? No, it's like, what are you gonna do? Why aren't you guys talking with each other to end this hate, bro?
That's what I'm saying to you. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, NBC News viewers.
Ally. These are things that we can teach our kids that can help mitigate some of these effects of this racism that's occurring, and that's ongoing.
Yeah, Vicky, we need to get to know each other better. We need to appreciate one another better. We need to realize that we have more in common, right? Than what unites us is greater than what separates us, right? We say that so often. We have more in common than we don't. Vicky, I know we had you on last year, and we'll keep having you on until this stops. Thank you so much. It is such important reporting.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Always great to talk with you, Allison.
You too, Vicky.
You see how she almost cried? Man.
We're gonna keep having you on to the stop. Okay.
So listen.
So in the event that they decide to write Asian history into these here textbooks that they speak of, right? Tell us from the beginning how that's going to, as Allison said, mitigate these here atrocities that are occurring towards their culture, because our history, right? Like we have history books out the wazoo. We have so many history books that they have taken it out of the curriculum altogether. And in fact, I can't remember the last time. Say what?
So I'm telling them, good luck with trying to get their history taught in school.
Like, okay, if that's what you think it's gonna take. I mean, if you think that it's going to be, oh, now we understand their culture so much more. I can't believe we ever did this to them. Let's kumbaya, all hold hands, and I don't know, share a miso soup, which, by the way, is really good. And I'm not hating. I love miso soup, but I'm just saying. Take it away. Say cool. Take it away, because we got another topic to touch. Let's go.
But all right, but I'm just go real quick, because just as we talk about all this craziness they talking about. First of all, when you look at a lot of the majority of the cases were definitely white supremacists that was doing what they were doing. Then when you look at the ones that were some black dudes, if you look at them, most of them were some homeless dudes. Especially that one, if you remember, Twan, you remember the video?
Which is what they don't point out.
Yeah, Homeboy was locked up for like 20 years for killing his mother, homeless and all that, and so he happened to whatever and kicked this Asian woman. That wasn't no hate crime. He did it because he's psycho. He killed his mother. All right, but we're talking about he's at a hate crime. But on the same note, the Homeboy in Atlanta that shot up all them Asian women in Atlanta, right? He said, I'm sorry, pardon me. He said himself that it wasn't a hate. He said Not nobody. He said it wasn't a hate crime. Therefore, it wasn't a hate crime. All right? He said it. Therefore, it
Because
wasn't.
he said
And
it.
so he said it.
Oh, of course, when he says it,
Yeah, he said it, and it wasn't. So, and then the officer said he's having a bad day.
it's solidified.
Right? And we're done. So and so I'm gonna do it real quick, and I'm about to end it. But basically, I'm going back to like as far as what Precious was saying too. When we look and we go back to the 1800s. All right, the white supremacists have been on their ass since the 1800s. All right, from the Chinese Exclusion Act, which Frederick Douglass would held them down. Right? Okay, we there for them. Right? They got the Rock Spring Massacre when they had like the Wall Street Massacre when they bombed that whole joint. That's what they did to them. This was 1885, I believe. Went in there and took out their whole area, burned people in their houses, and But we don't hear about that stuff. We don't know about that.
Nope.
Right? But this is white supremacists that did that. It wasn't us. All right,
but
they don't talk about this. These are the people that did that to them, but they still hold in their hand. They want to be like them because we are below them. All right, we've been below them, and we're still below them in their mind. All right.
Exactly.
Then you got then beyond that, then you had the Hell's Canyon massacre, where it was and by the way, the majority of the Asians came to the United States by way of for gold. That's why they came here. They came here.
Drop them nuggets, right? My guy. Drop
it. Gold and they got
facts.
You know what I'm saying? So when they was coming here, the white supremacists didn't want them here, so they took them out. So the Hell's Canyon massacre back in 1887, they took everybody out. They came out and they still and quote unquote they don't know what happened, but they all died. There was stories. There was some white dudes on horses, blah blah blah, but we don't know what happened. But all of them is dead.
Right.
So that goes back to, and I'm gonna make this real short, but that goes back to, what I was just saying about like, they don't necessarily want to kumbaya with us. They just don't want to. They don't want the aggression towards them.
No,
they don't. They are perfectly okay with, and even they mentioned it in this video we just watched, like. Oh, this happened close to Chinatown. Like, right, you got a whole Chinatown. Everything occurs in Chinatown. Your Asian dollar circulates in your community as many times as it can before it goes outsourced, before it goes somewhere else. So you're spending your money in your community and your culture is doing just fine. You don't really care about Asian versus Black America getting along and being people of color, and they don't want a kumbaya. They just want to be all right. That's all I'm saying. And again, I think that solidarity is absolutely necessary just in general, because we are all living here and we all have to make a place and space for ourselves. However, go ahead, Twan. I'm done.
I'm saying the big thing. Media, and I'm gonna end it. But go ahead, y'all. Media is the main key. But go ahead.
It's just Black people. We looking side-eyed it. We looking side-eyed, man, because we're like this. Oh, now y'all want us. Now y'all talking solidarity. Now y'all want us to help y'all out. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like the theme is like, oh, let's not worry about that. Look, man, we got to stick together. I mean, everybody watch Do the Right Thing, right? Everybody watched that movie, right? Is it safe to say that? All right. Y'all remember the scene? Y'all remember the scene with the Italians, right? They had the Italian business in the neighborhood, and then they had the Koreans across that grocery store. You remember? And you remember when they tore up that Italian spot, right? They immediately start looking at that grocery store, right? Now this Asian dude that ran those Black kids out of that store every day, following them around, hurry up and buy, the whole time, right? But when they were gonna go burn his business down, he said, we're the same, we're same, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like in real life, in that movie, they were just as egregious across the street and y'all did nothing to that business. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's a movie, but sometimes I don't understand that.
But that's fact. That's fact.
Sometimes I don't understand us.
That's fact, especially depending on where you're from. Because like Twan, it's like you know what I'm saying? I can't sit there and say nothing about Christian Precious because I don't, you know, like where you're from. I can't speak on where, you know, how things was where you're from. Where we from, we know everything was owned by them. Simple and plain. There wasn't no ifs, ands, or buts. Everything was owned. We own nothing. We own nothing in our communities whatsoever.
And it's that way now. It is that way right now.
You know what I'm saying? And
nothing has changed.
Yeah, and it's sad. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's not that we don't have the money to do it or can't do it. It's like they came in and they were given. What was it? We talked about the money they were given when they got here. They were able to got that money and they went and they saw where, you know, they did their homework and they are together. Like that's the biggest thing. They're together. They did their homework and they know what they're together and they doing their thing. And next thing you know, look where we at. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they come in our communities. They know I spend it. Like, if we could understand how our spending dollars, how important it is, and when we understand that fully, Jesus Christ, we'd be unstoppable. But we just don't do it. We don't do it no matter what. And no matter what you say and whatever, you're still gonna run and like, y'all need that Gucci. I need that damn all that. No, nigga. When they telling you that you're no good, when Timberland is telling you you're no good, when all these dudes is telling you they don't care about you, they don't care about, but you're spending your money because you want to support, you want to rock the fly stuff. But then the black business, they got something that may be like, all right, $10 more than you know what you used to paying, and you're like, oh no, that's too much. Nah, they can't produce the same things that other people do. Right. Show that money, show the love, give that money. They won't do it. You know, and that's why we are in the predicament we're in. They are together. You know what I'm saying? It's much like I argue with people. Like people say like, no, you can't say black people don't support. No, we don't. We're not together as much as we need to be. We're okay, but we're not nowhere near where we need to be. They are together forever. We have to get a hair salon. Like Chris is in the hair business. You know, he's a barber. He has his hair. He has a spot. You know what I'm saying? The barbershop, he has, you know, and he's taking it to different levels. But he knows the game. Like the Asians own that shit. The hair, you gotta go to the Asians to get the hair. You gotta go, you know what I'm saying? It's like to know somebody, a black business that actually has hair, like Jesus Christ. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what they pulled off to do it. Mm-hmm. All the Asians, they own all these joints and they work together and they keep it. And
what do black people got to connect on? Say cool. What do black people got to connect on? Honestly,
nothing.
Just dope.
We don't own anything, and that's we don't own anything. But it's
yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, that's like readily available for us. Like niggas can get dope.
There's something they slide in our communities.
It's not something we supply like. So we ain't got to connect on shit.
So I'm gonna end that. And I'm gonna make the statement before we move on real quickly, and that's this. To any people that may be Asian listening right now, I'm gonna say something that you guys all know. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. This uprising of this hate started when 45, when Trump was elected, and he decided to call this COVID-19 situation the China virus, and then he got his base all riled up. You know what I'm saying? And I know they're trying to show a lot of African Americans fighting,
call it the Kung Flu,
the Kung Flu and all that. He riled y'all up. He made y'all hot. Republicans made y'all hot. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. And then they started doing all this to you, and then the shooting, you know, down in Atlanta and all that. So if you want to know where it's sourced this time, where it came from, go no further than him. Black people didn't start anything with this. Go no further than him, the uprising when they came back or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And when he was telling us and didn't care about us getting killed in the streets, you know what I'm saying, just understand now. But look, at the same time, man, and I think Precious was touching on it, and I'm going to be done with this, man. It's going to sound sinister when I say I'm kind of glad sometimes when other ethnic groups go through things in this country, because they just get a taste of what we felt and what we feel every day in this country. And therefore, it's hard to feel sorry for them. But I don't wish any hate or anything upon them, man.